Hello and welcome to the Midrash for today's reunion roadmap. This is Barry Phillips, an elder with B'nai Yosef in North America, in Virginia, and fellow elder in Florida. Warm, sunny, perfect weather, Florida. David Jones,
Shalom, brother.
bright-eyed and raring to go, I understand. David, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I don't know how the perfect weather. It's been well, a little windy here, the past couple of days, and a little rainy, but that's nothing new.
Well, Florida is one of those areas where everyone imagines, it's a sunshine state. Well, sunshine, yes, but no one seems to say it's the humidity state.
That is one that needs to catch on.
It's thick, brother. It's the air gets thick. You living here on the east coast of Virginia, it can get quite thick, warm and sweltering, and out of that, a thunderstorm can pop up at any time, whether it's forecast or not. Almost every day, there's a chance of an afternoon thunderstorm. And I had, David, those occasions where the sky turns kind of a pea soup green, and it's you see these purple clouds mixed into that. That's not good.
That's not
That's
fun.
No, that's when the twisters, the tornadoes, are have a potential of coming through, and there have been a few in the area. Matter of fact, we just went through a time last night of a rather powerful thunderstorm. And as I was sharing with you earlier, we had quite a light show somewhere between 3 a.m. and about 3:40 a.m. this morning. Nahum 1:3. Nahum is that part of your scriptures where if you have gold on the edge of your pages, if you've had that Bible for a long time, look where the gold is still on the side of the page. That's where Nahum's at. No one ever reads that.
That's not right.
In chapter 1 and in verse 3, according to the Scriptures translation, it says, Yahweh is patient and great in power, but by no means leaves unpunished. Yahweh has his way in the whirlwind and in the storm, and the clouds are the dust of his feet. Kind of a poetic way of saying that, as Yeshua said in Matthew 5, verse 45, that he makes his sun rise on the wicked and on the good and sends rain on the righteous and on the unrighteous. It rains on the just and the unjust. When storms come through, we've had the previously mentioned storm system come through. It's wreaked havoc all the way up through the south. Now it's up into the northern coastal states, and I think last week there was quite heavy snowstorms for early April out in the Midwest. We're not immune to aberrant weather patterns. And you might wonder, well, why are churches and congregational gathering homes destroyed along with everything else? Can't the Father be more selective? Does he not appreciate what we're trying to do? Our fields and our possessions can get wrecked just like everybody else's. Is Yah not discerning? Or is it not about the individual at all? It's more about the community. And if it's more about the community, do you think that we might need then to make a shift in our estimation of who we're living among and pray more intently for the righteousness of our community?
Wow. Now you're getting into personal responsibility to the immediate world around us, and
You're welcome.
that's a big deal. That's a big deal. I'm reminded of a scripture where Peter says, "Righteous Lot cried out; his soul was vexed." He cried out. I'm not going to say that Lot was blameless in a lot of things that happened in his life, but I'm not going to say that he intentionally set out to get what he got.
No.
Um, he saw the wickedness around him, and what could he do? It was so overwhelming. And when Avram was talking to Yah, he's interceding. He said, "If you find 10 righteous men, just 10," they after they have this negotiation, he says, "If I find 10, I'll spare the city." Now we think about that for a minute. 10 righteous men could spare an entire city, but again, God is no respecter of persons. So there really is a lot in here where I think we can come away with more questions than answers. We have natural disasters that affect large areas, and there's righteous people there, and there's unrighteous people there. And I think the Father is trying to show us in some ways we all have life experiences to share. And if there's things that happen among the unrighteous, should not there be some righteous there to help show the heart of the Father to the people around them? In the midst of adversity, to try to help to raise up and show that Yah cares?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was teaching this past Shabbat that it is our responsibility to diffuse the reality, the awareness of the glory of the truth of our Creator through us to our environment. Yeshua likened that to not hiding your candle under a covering of any sort, but thrusting your light out into the darkness so that those who are in the darkness can benefit from it. Isaiah, Yeshayahu, was it chapter 60, talks about that we need to arise and shine so that those who are in great darkness can come to the brightness of our shining. So there does need to be a righteous influence in our community. Our communities are basically telling us to shut up and go away.
Yeah.
They don't appreciate the righteous values that we want to emanate. They don't appreciate our rejection of their particular choices and lifestyles. There has been, there's a candidate for the Democratic presidential nomination who is trying to pick a fight with our vice president over what he sees as the Creator made me a homosexual. And if you've got a problem with that, don't argue with me, argue with him who made me this way. Well, for us to begin to take a scriptural stance on that is going to cause a huge problem. To this point, our vice president has refused to take debate and get into that public argument. We would, in regards to that, we would often think, well, if cities like San Francisco, that is so driven in that agenda, or other places of great wickedness, as we would see it, New Orleans, for example, many felt that it was justified that Hurricane Katrina went through there and devastated that city. And immediately afterwards, they wanted to rebuild as quickly as possible so that the party can continue, as if they did not get a lesson learned in that regard. But what about the small one stoplight town in a rural area, or just a smaller city that is just good old American folk, not really pushing an agenda anywhere, and a tornado comes through and devastates the place? Homes, churches, schools, businesses are just flattened to the ground. What did they do to deserve that? Those are questions I don't know that I have answers for. It's interesting that a tornado can come through a community and play hopscotch. And it'll hit
Right.
one home and jump over another, and then hit another one and veer off and go a completely different path and spare someone. But it does say to us that if we're trying to walk righteously, then we need to be the righteous influence in our community, and we need to intercede for our community. More often than not, David, I think we're interceding for those who agree with us and maybe those in our congregation and for those who promote the agenda that we're happy with. We pray for sinners to be saved, but are we praying for their protection? Are we praying for them to receive mercy? Well, if they're going to live a sinful life, they kind of deserve what they get. Doesn't that shoe fit on all of us?
Oh boy. Yeah. Truthfully, yes. None of we talked a little bit before we hit the record button, and you said something very well. None of us are deserving of His mercy, but yet it's offered to all who will receive. That's a great thing to take notice of. None of us truly deserve the goodness of God, but yet He gives it to all who would come to Him.
Yeah.
And when we have things, the rain falling on the just and the unjust, it leaves a lot of questions. Well, how come, I didn't do anything wrong? How come I'm in this situation, or things like that? But there's always a blessing that can come out of situations and come out of things. When I think of the rain falling on the just and the unjust, that's on both sides of that coin. That could be a judgment, or it could be blessing as well. If
Yes.
the community is blessed, and there's
Absolutely.
blessing there. I mean, Yosef, Potiphar said, "I know that I'm blessed because God is blessing you." And so we have things there where when God blesses His people, those around Him receive blessing as well. And that's good to notice as well. So in times of adversity, in times where things are hard, I believe we should intercede that much more, we should be anyway, but it should be that much more fervent, because we want to show the heart of the Father in the midst of whatever situation we're in, no matter what's going on, no matter what's happening. Yah is just, He is righteous, He is true, He is holy, but He's loving, He's kind, He's merciful. And so these are the characteristics of Yah that we want to show to those around us.
So when we say it rains on the just and the unjust, we should not be upset when we see those that are unjust or unrighteous prospering, having success in life. In all reality, we really don't want to see anybody suffer and do without. If I want to have plenty in my home, if I want to walk in abundance, how am I to begrudge even the worst among us? They need shelter. They need food. That's just common decency for humanity. There is a day, though, Yeshua described as separating the sheep and the goats. That's not people. If you read the text, it's nations, communities. So Yah has a way of determining what regions, what lands, what people groups walked correctly according to His word, and those who did not. Well, I can't fix it for anybody else. It's just me and mine. I'm going to fix my home, and everybody else have to do the same. There is a corporate responsibility, and it should encourage us to try to do a bit more than just keep our own nose clean. Last words before we close, David.
Well, God called us individually, but He called us as a people. And we should strive to live to show His glory in our lives personally, but we should also strive to show His presence as a people of Yah.
Absolutely. We appreciate so much you listening, and we would greatly encourage your comments. What are your thoughts on this Midrash? If you have questions, comments, we'd love to hear from you. You can reach us at, David, give the address.
Reunion Roadmap at BneiYosefNA.com.
That is it. Thank you so much for joining us. Shalom, David.
Shalom, brother.